now you're heading over to part 2 of that episode right over there. Hey everyone, we are at part 2, the video portion. Actually, this is on another day. We had a really long, awesome conversation, so I hope you got a chance to listen to all that. So Charlie, welcome back again. I feel like this is the 100th time at this point. But I want to talk about, something that's really, you're doing something really, you've run across the Sahara, but you're doing something incredibly challenging. And I want to use this as an opportunity not to make people envious or jealous or like, holy cow, this guy's crazy, but maybe to inspire them to know that they can do a little bit more. Because oftentimes I even feel this, that sometimes I'm playing small in life, not necessarily the running game, but in life in general. Where can I give more? Where can I do more? Where can I be more? Just to be better for this planet and myself, right? I got to be good for myself first. So what are you doing? Like, what's this cool thing you got coming up? It's on your website. Give us like the short and dirty.
No. Thanks, dude. Well, I would preface it by saying, to your point about playing small, I'm a big believer that preparation is overrated. And, people, this project that I have that I'll talk about in a second, people are always like, well, how do you train for something like that? Like, how do you get ready for it? And just like with the Sahara, that was 5,000 miles of running. You actually can't train for that. Life is training for that. As my good friend said, 90% of it is mental and the other 10% is all in your head. Because this is, when you get into endurance sports, yes, your overall health and your fitness and being in good shape, all that matters. But ultimately, it's going to come down to making a mental decision that you're going to keep going and you're going to find a way to keep going. And so the project you're talking about, I call it 5.8 Global Adventure. And I call it 5.8 because this journey is going to take me from the Dead Sea, which is the lowest place on the planet, to the top of Mount Everest. And while it's about 4,500 miles from point to point, it's actually only 5.8 vertical miles. Like if you could stack Mount Everest on top of the Dead Sea, it would be less than a 10K to go that distance.
Yeah.
And this little sliver of space that surrounds the planet, like we're all in it together, this tiny little piece of atmosphere that, we feel so disconnected from other people on the planet, but we are all connected. And this is, look, it's a metaphor, but you don't have to be all that smart to understand this one. Lowest place on the planet to the highest. We all go through these never-ending cycles of low places and high points. And most of our time in life is spent kind of in this middle ground. But in this case, I decided I wanted to put a literal spin on the metaphor, and to do that, I'm actually going to start in Israel at the shore of the Dead Sea, and I'm going to paddleboard across the Dead Sea. Halfway across, I'm going to do a free dive to the lowest place I can reach in the Dead Sea. I'm going to come back up, or at least I hope I am.
You will.
And, swim the rest, or paddle the rest of the way across the Dead Sea to Jordan. And from there, I'm going to run 2,000 miles across the Arabian Desert. And at the tip of Oman, I'm going to get in a boat and I'm going to row 1,000 miles across the Indian Ocean and land north of Mumbai, where I'm going to mountain bike all the way across India and into Western Nepal and to the base of Mount Everest. And from there, it's only like 2 or 3 miles, to the top. I hear they're pretty hard miles though. So
yeah.
But in a nutshell, that's it. And it's a physical undertaking, but for me, it's all about cultural exploration. It's combining the things that I love to do, and that's moving my body and exploring this planet.
And it's interesting, I think about all of the different regions you'll be going through. From culture to elevation change to hot to like frigid, like beyond freezing cold. What kind of advisors do you have? Because I know you have the headspace, but to fathom, I know you've been in deserts and hot heat and stuff, but how do you fathom from going, I'm going to be in Israel, I'm going to jump on a paddleboard. And I don't know how many miles that you're paddling, if it's a marathon distance or if it's more. I don't know how wide it is. How wide is that?
It's not that wide. It's 11 miles.
11 miles. Okay, it's still a good distance on a paddleboard, and it'll float really well.
Yeah, and
right?
if
And
you've
you're
ever
going to need,
seen, right, there's that. If you've ever seen me paddleboard, which you haven't,
yeah.
I'm not very good at it, so
Okay.
it'll be a lot of work for me.
Yeah. But we have this, we have the paddle boarding, then you have free diving, which is a whole other skill set, which is so different than anything, right? Like it's like
Yeah,
climbing is one thing, but like you have to train yourself to sink in the most buoyant water in the planet, right?
totally.
Like what are you strapping a submarine with like that you're gonna cut the rope off or something that's just sinking down? Like how
Yeah,
does that work?
I will have to have about 75 pounds of weight to
Mm,
actually get to the bottom. And so when you ask about consultants, like that's one of the things that I've been working on. And I'm not a free diver. I'm
mm,
not not really anything. I'm an endurance athlete that um, I'm not reckless. I'm really not interested in dying. That seems like a poor plan. So
yeah.
I will learn as much as possible about the different things that I need to be doing, but I'll take experts with me where it's called for, like on Mount Everest. The
Mm,
fact is,
yeah,
I
you
am a
better.
mountaineer. Yeah, I'm a mountaineer. I've been over 20,000 feet a bunch of times, and I've climbed a few big mountains, but I've never climbed Everest. And I'm not going to go up there, nor could I actually without an outfitter. So,
Mm,
I'll have someone on that journey that will be one of the world's premier experts, and hopefully he'll make sure I don't die.
yeah.
And the thing is, all of these things. I mean, the running I'm pretty qualified to do, but even that in a place like the Arabian Desert, you know, crossing other countries on the planet, it's almost a negotiation as much as it is an expedition.
Yeah, I was going to say that. You got the temperature, but you also have the culture and the people and
Yeah,
borders, and you're an American guy,
yeah.
which,
It's their country. I mean,
yeah,
wherever I go, it's their country. Parts of America, I feel like it's somebody else's country, but
yeah,
that's a topic for another day. But I mean,
yeah,
okay, here in the US, I could grab a backpack and my shoes and my debit card, and I could head out the front door and start going, from North Carolina to California if I wanted to. Like, it's not, there's more to it than that, of course, but
yeah.
you could do it here. You could probably find convenience stores along the way and
Mhm.
make it happen. That's not the way it is, when you're
Yeah.
crossing a desert, or obviously rowing across an ocean like the Indian Ocean. I mean, it's 1,000 miles, which is farther than I've ever rowed before, that's for sure. But it's also interestingly, it's actually the most pirate infested waters on the
Mm.
planet. So
Not
there
like
are,
our pirate, like
no, not those.
bad,
Yeah, I
bad
wish.
people.
That would be interesting. But these are, now I'm not really the kind of target they're looking for, because what am I going to have in my little boat? But there's human considerations, but I don't want to let those considerations ever stop me from doing something. I
Mhm.
mean, to be honest, the most direct route, if you know your geography, from the Dead Sea to Mount Everest, would take me across, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, and Afghanistan. Is it possible?
Sure.
It's possible, like with the right connections. And the world is not that dangerous a place out there, not as much as one would believe, watching the news.
Mhm.
You can find ways to do things. I mean, I always, not to get off track here, but I always say, imagine coming from another country and landing in, Chicago, or some of the cities in the country right now that are really struggling
Dangerous.
with, I mean,
Yeah.
200 shootings a day in some of
Yeah.
these cities. And I mean, that sounds way more dangerous than just about any other place on the planet.
Yeah.
But you and I know we could go to Chicago without without
Yeah.
any trouble. It's perception. So I mean, the thing about taking on big challenges and getting out of I hate the comfort zone idea, but it is, discovery is on the edge of discomfort.
Mm.
That's
Yeah.
where you find it. I don't think you ever find discovery in any way, shape, or form until you've at least gotten to the edge of discomfort. And that's a big deal for me. That's where I want to go
Yeah.
all the time, because I know that's where I'm going to learn some new things.
Yeah. So like in the building, or in the, I shouldn't say the thought process. So you've decided to do the 5.8. You're like, okay, this seems like the wildest thing. We connected the metaphor to real life, to making it literally happening. how did you, or how are you finding the right people to circle, to bring around you? Because I know, I think of like Henry Ford back in the day. He's like, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I surrounded myself with the smartest men in the world that were able
Yep.
to help me build this vehicle and manufacture the vehicle. So I know this is not building a car. This is building like an epic adventure. How are you finding these people?
It's a great question. And I'll be 60 years old next month, and one of the things that I say often in my life, and I'm as you are well aware, 30 years clean and sober. I'm a developer of relationships. I love people. I like to be a connector for other people. And I'm happy to say I've made a lot of great connections to people where I know this person and this person will really benefit from knowing each other, and they
Mm.
might even go off and start a business, and I don't need to be involved or benefit from it. And that sort of an attitude has served me really well through the years, because I've kind of collected friendships and relationships through the years. So
A good thing to
when
collect.
when this idea came around, I'm like, okay, who do I know? So it's not as simple as one might think. Israel, if you pay attention to the news, Israel and Jordan aren't best friends. So if you go to Israel and you want to start there, but you want to go to Jordan, it's not as simple as getting on a paddleboard and just going across.
Yeah.
There's politics involved.
Mhm.
There's making sure you have the right people in your corner. When I crossed the Sahara Desert, I had the United Nations as a partner, and I crossed countries like Libya and Egypt, which even at that time were very complicated places to not only get
Mm.
permission, but to navigate the politics. And that happened only because of other relationships,
Yeah.
I had developed. I'll give you another great example. One of my close friends, for since the 90s is was and still is one of the world's greatest adventure athletes. And
Mm.
he owned a bunch of world records in kayaking, long distance kayaking, 24, 48, 72 hours, and
Jeez.
some very long things. So he's the first person that I called, because I originally thought I would kayak across the Indian Ocean. And I've come to understand that because of sleeping quarters and other things, it makes more sense for me to row. I've done a lot more kayaking than rowing, but the point is, I called him and said, hey, can you help me with looking at charts and ocean currents and time of year and all of these things? And how do I get myself across this very rough body of water safely and without working any harder than I have to? And so literally a week later, I've got a whole layout
Mm.
of charts, and he's showing me when I need to go, where I need to go, stay in this shipping channel, stay away from that one, do this,
Mm.
and like, again, I'm partners with Deepak Chopra in a couple of things. Well, Deepak's maybe one of the most connected people who are originally from India, in the world. And so crossing India, I have opportunities to potentially meet the Dalai Lama and to get the kind of support crossing a place like India. And in India, what I need more than anything, I mean, crossing India on a bike is going to be very difficult, but it's more about, I want to make sure I see the things I want to see and meet the people I want to meet. The physical part of it is inherent.
Mm.
It's built into it. The other
Yeah.
part of it, I need to seek, and I need to make sure. I don't want to do this as an athletic venture. Nobody gives a shit about me biking 2,000 miles across India. Not really. I mean,
Yeah.
people are interested, but it's not a physical undertaking that I mean, the whole of it is kind of a
Yes.
wow. That gives the wow. But going across India on a bike, I want to meet people and introduce those people to others who care to follow along on this journey.
That's really neat, and I think that's such a powerful thing. And most people don't realize the power in community, right? And building friendships and building relationships. I can say I'm more of an introvert for the most part, but when I'm around other groups of people, like at the Penguin event or an ultra marathon, I feel, or even a chiropractic event, I feel I'm with my tribe, and I open up very easily, but I'm very careful to pick the people I want to surround myself with, because I know as far as I know, I got one time on this planet, as far as
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure it's the best journey that I can possibly have. Am I perfect at it? Far from it. But,
Yeah.
being able to have connection like you, just to have another fellow runner that, I meet people when I run, but you're to me an extraordinary person. So I was like, wow, okay. I reached out and this guy said hello back, via an Instagram message, which was great. And here we are today. So for everybody else that's, looking to grow and looking to expand, just don't stay so narrow-minded. Open up and see what's really available in this world, because it's quite a fascinating place, and you can't really judge a book by its cover when it comes to a human being, because you never know.
You have to trust the process and
Mm-hmm.
your instincts, and I try to answer everybody that ever writes to me, and I just kind of know, I think, when it's a good fit to develop a friendship or a relationship of some type. And and I think that too often, I understand it's not always easy to trust other people, but you have to open yourself up and see where things, like, I'm that guy. I talk to people on airplanes, right?
Yeah.
Now I always have a book in my lap, because I want to make sure that if I start a conversation that is going someplace, I don't want to spend 3 hours talking to some
Yeah.
guy about his I don't want to pick a business because I might insult somebody, but about a business I'm not interested in, then but I've made some great friends, on long flights where
Yeah.
the universe has put them next to me. And that's how I look at it,
Mm.
and so maybe there's something there, maybe there's not, maybe it's just a good conversation. But I say to myself and to others all the time that sometimes words said to us by a stranger in passing that you never see again can change the course of your entire life.
Yeah.
We've all heard a nugget, like even someone listen to this, they may tune in for one quick blurb, having
Mhm.
never listened to your podcast before, and they may never come back. Who knows? Hopefully they will. But the point
Yeah.
is,
Of course.
they may pull that one nugget that's like, wow, why didn't I think of that? And go off and
Yeah.
start a new journey and a new path. And that's the way I try to look at this.
Yeah. So I want to come back to this 5.8 for a second. So we have this whole journey. When are you planning on starting, and how long are you expecting or
Yeah,
projecting really should take? Because I know there's a lot of variables like weather and things you can't really choose to
yeah,
happen or
yeah.
not.
Well, I plan to start in 2012.
Oh, we're close. Hold on. Where are we here? Oh, okay. There we go.
And what I mean by that is this idea, like most huge projects, this has been bouncing around my head, for
Mm.
a long time. And COVID really, like, I don't want to complain about COVID because we've all done that. But in 2019, I did an almost 3,000-mile journey across Africa, from the lowest place in Africa to the highest.
Oh,
And
cool.
that was on foot and bike. And it was a really difficult journey from Djibouti in East Africa all the way across Ethiopia, Kenya, to the top of Kilimanjaro. And I thought 2020 was going to be the year to launch two
The
more
new one.
expeditions,
Yeah.
because there are 7 continents, and I'm interested in going lowest to highest on on all of them.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just a one trick pony. But Dead Sea to Everest is the gem, in this totem pole. And uh, I would love to go next year. It's very likely at this point, though, that it's going to be January of 2024 at this point that I actually get to start. There's always funding,
Yeah, of course.
issues. There's broadcast issues. There's, I'm working with a production company. It's a very, very expensive venture, and there's not that many people out there who just want to say, hey, plunk down a giant chunk of money without some sort of a return. So if I was a super wealthy guy, I'd just go do it. But
Mm.
I need the
Yeah.
support of a production company. I need sponsors. I need those things. And so January of 2024 is the most likely starting point,
Yeah.
at this moment. And I feel good about that one. But in 2023, I will go lowest to highest in South America and in Europe. So
Okay.
probably Australia too. Australia's, kind of it's a very short one and a quick one. There's not a very high point on that continent.
So where's low and high in Europe?
So that's actually the Caspian Sea. So the shore of the Caspian Sea is the lowest point, and Mount Elbrus is the highest point. So it's a much, it's a very achievable journey. It's very rugged and difficult, but it's less than 500 miles from the lowest to the highest point.
Okay.
And, and Mount Elbrus is high. I can't actually quote you the height,
Yeah.
but it's not, I've been higher many times.
Do you think it's a 20 or is it less than 20?
It's not 20. It's
like a 17, 18, something like that.
It's like 18. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's, that's an achievable, these are things that aren't nearly as expensive. They're achievable on a short term. They help build an audience and confidence for sponsors. And, they allow me to continue to hone my craft because, again, people, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but people ask me all the time, like, hey, I want to run across the United States. Can you give me some advice? Can you help me? And I'll say, so what have you done so far? And they're like, well, I've run a couple of half marathons. And I'm like, well, all right. So first of all, what you need to do is get a map and plan like a run across the county that you live in, then the state that you live in, then start thinking bigger picture and understand, how to, because the physical part of it is the fun part. It's the hard part. It's the rewarding part. The logistics is what actually makes it possible though. And that's very complicated in these big expeditions.
Yeah. And I think it's important, in the beginning, you talk about being able to plan for a 5,000-mile journey. And that's, I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's a lifelong journey. It's not something you decided you were going to pick up running or biking or kayaking or paddleboarding last month or last year. Yeah. But there is a huge piece of planning in the actual logistical pieces of the puzzle. Like that's where you have to step back and go, okay, what is this really look like? And who do I need or surrounding me? What kind of gear do I need? There are a lot of moving parts. So we'll come back to that in a minute. I want to just bring it to more of a reality so we can inspire people to do more, because people are going, okay, hold on, this guy's run across the Sahara, been lowest to highest in Africa. He's doing Europe. He's doing, this guy's nuts, like completely. But it's to me, it's inspiring because as a 43-year-old who's just really come into my prime, if you will, of running, and I see you at just about 60 here going, all right, what's bigger? How can I challenge myself to be more? So what would you say to the person that's listening right now or watching and saying, like I've had such a hard time in life just starting and going, like even to get to a 5K, because they look at this and go, well, he's been doing this forever. Even for me, a patient are like, wait, you run what? So what would you say to that person that's like, I just don't even think I can do it, 5K or a 10K?
Yeah, I mean, it's overwhelming, and I get that, and I think the biggest block is the mental block, of course, and it's because not to go too deep here, but when we're young, when you're 3, 4, 5, up to 10 years old, what do you love to do? You love to run. Like anybody who's got kids, everybody was a kid. Like you couldn't stop a kid from running, right? I mean, it's joy. It's like you just want to go and you want to go fast and you want to burn this energy. And, when I was a kid, of course, that's how I got to my neighbor's house to play or whatever, as I had to run. And then we go to middle school, and some middle school PE teacher uses running as a punishment. And all of a sudden it flips this switch in our head that running is hard and it's something to be dreaded and it's something that is going to cause us pain. And we carry that with us forever. And so even a person who doesn't do sports like in high school or college and maybe they try to stay in decent shape, or maybe they don't, and they're trying to start this program of even running a 5K or 10K. The number one thing that a person has to do is go slow. Is go slow. I mean, you have to you just have to slow down. This is no longer PE class or soccer practice. Like this is a lifelong project, and the project is you. And so you have to find that pace for you that may just be a walking pace to begin with. When I coach people, I start them off just walking, and they're going to walk for 45 minutes, and I'll say, okay, every 5 minutes, I want you to jog for 60 seconds. And I mean like old man shuffle jog, right? Like just you want to finish this 45 minutes feeling energized and like you could have done more. So I mean, literally, I know I'm oversimplifying, but the number one thing is you have to kick that old thinking out of your head and wipe the slate clean and start over and love your body. It's the only one you've got. And also, I think you have to understand that you're getting ready to put your body under some stress. And if you haven't been doing any exercise or not much for a long time, that repetitive, sort of pounding, if you will, on your legs and on your body, it takes your body and your joints. I mean, who am I talking to here? Your joints have to have time to adjust to that load. So cross training is incredibly important. So when you start a program with a goal of running a 5K or a marathon, even, most people don't realize, like, if your life depended on it, you could cover 26 miles. So it wouldn't be comfortable or fun probably if you haven't trained for it. But the fun part about training is that's the journey piece. The payoff of the actual 5K or marathon is, oddly unsatisfying. We can feel good about ourselves for a minute, but it really is all that time preparing for it that is the part that helps us in the rest of our lives. So I guess the answer to the question is recognize that it's a lifestyle choice. And this translates to your personal relationships. It translates to your work. It translates to your big goals in life. Is if you learn how to manage those small steps along the way, then you can take that experience and move it over to other parts of your life.
Yeah, I think this is a great place to finish so people can take some action steps. And I think you said something that's very powerful. And for me, it's been moving my body has been probably the best teacher in my life, as an adult. And, taking those initial steps, like getting past that psychological piece. Like I could tell you right now, I got home last night from work, 97% humidity. It rained all day. I'm like, I don't want to freaking run. Like I did not. I was like, maybe today's no, it's not. And I went out and I just came back. I was like today, went out running this morning, same idea, 97% humidity, and just sweated. And I can tell you, it is challenging, doing the things sometimes that are hard, even if it's going out for that 45-minute walk, make yourself do it. Because when you start to be able to commit to yourself, movement is the easiest piece of the health journey. Changing your food and maybe meditating and doing breath work or whatever it may be, those may be a little bit more challenging. If you can hone the movement part, the other pieces are a lot easier because you realize they're all going to start to stack on top of each other. And it becomes like this massive, it can have a massive change in a very short period of time. Right? I mean, would you agree on that?
I would totally agree. And I mean, again, I know it feels overwhelming, but to the people who are listening to this, like right this minute, whatever time of day you're listening to it, if this inspires you at all, don't say the words, I'll start tomorrow. Get your freaking shoes on. As soon as this, we stop talking, get your shoes on now. Grab your iPhone and listen to the rest of the, podcast, on a walk, or just get yourself out the door and make it 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It doesn't like that starting is the hardest part. And it's never as bad as you think. And you always benefit from fresh air and from being outside and spending time with yourself.
Yeah. It's funny you say that tomorrow never shows up ever. for
No.
most people. And I remember growing up, and I'll end with this little story. My parents ran an experiential training seminar. We're doing firewalks and sweat lodges and all of these things as a young kid. And at the time, they did this in the Southwest. It was very Native American themed. They had Native Americans teach meditation. It was very cool as a kid to go through this. And now, when I look back on it, but they sold jewelry, and the eagle was something that had to deal with freedom, but they would sell these watches where the face of the watch said the time is now. Like, that's what it said. It was so cool. And just, taking action now, not tomorrow. You can't think about yesterday, but the time is now. And that's when we got to take these action steps.
I love that. Actually, what we could do is just, I've got a few little tattoos anyway. That's a great idea. I should tattoo the word now here on my wrist, because anytime I'm wondering when is a good time to get started on something I need to do.
It's like right under your watch. Boop. There we go. Yeah.
Perfect.
So true. So Charlie, dude, this has been amazing. I hope everyone listening and watching has gotten that nugget, that something that will inspire them to be better today, going into tomorrow, but you got to start now. So Charlie, again, thank you so much. This has been a blast as usual.
My pleasure, brother. I hope we get to do it again, and we'll run again soon.
Yes. So you're still here. Awesome. I want to thank you so much for watching part 2 of this episode. Make sure you scroll down on the page you're on right now and join our tribe of human-powered life heroes. You definitely want to be the first to get information on new episodes, new videos, product launches, live events, affiliate discounts, and so much more. So have a great day, evening, or night, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.